Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to Get Hit with the Truth. So today we're doing the what's next on the undefeated IBF interim champion, Jaron Boots Ennis, who returned to action at the beginning of January on the Davis and Garcia undercard and got a one-sided 12-round decision over some guy named Kaden something. He's some Russian fighter, and he pretty much dominated him. The guy seemed unwilling to fight for 12 rounds. Before we jump into Boots, though, if you guys could show me some love by smashing the like button, leaving a comment, subscribing to the channel, I really do appreciate any and all support. So if you could do that, that'd be great. I would love any kind of support. But if you don't like what I'm doing, you don't like my content, whatever, just do the thumbs down or leave a negative comment. I want you to be real with me. I never want freebies out here. So so anyways, so back to Boots and what he's doing. So he got that win. He became the IBF interim champion, and no surprise, it wasn't his fault. The other guy wasn't willing to engage. One second, guys. It wasn't his fault about that, but now the big question is what's next for him. Well, he's in wait and see mode because Errol Spence Jr. is the IBF champion. He and Boots would technically are supposed to fight next, but in terms of in order by the IBF, that's all it takes. But Spence is currently negotiating a fight with Keith Thurman, from what everybody is saying. And if that fight pops off, it's supposed to take place at 154 pounds. And Spence would probably still hold on to his belts for the moment, his 3 titles, awaiting a potential undisputed title clash with Terrence Crawford in the second half of the year. But right now, there's a lot of skepticism of whether that fight is going to take place or not. So we're in wait and see mode, and Boots is going to have to wait and see. But I think part of the reason he's waiting and seeing what's going on is because those titles might become vacant before Spence and Crawford strike a deal. They might have to become vacant, so Boots will get upgraded to full champion and then be able to defend his title, against whoever would be willing to fight him. So right now it's kind of up in the air on what could be going on with Boots, in that whole title situation. But let's run through the top 10 and take a look at some options for Boots and see who might be willing to fight him. Errol Spence, I highly doubt Spence wants anything to do with Boots Ennis. I don't see this one. Terrence Crawford, the WBO champ. I mean, the only way I see this is if the fight with Spence gets scrapped, doesn't happen, and then Boots gets upgraded to IBF champ, and Crawford wants to make a statement by fighting Boots next. I think Crawford might be willing to take that gamble if he could get, if Spence passes on the fight, or if they cannot get a deal done. But I don't think it's his what he wants to do, Crawford, so I don't think it's going to happen. Then you got your Dennis Ugas. This one is interesting because Ugas is planning a comeback in the first half of the year here following his loss to Spence. And I think Ugas would be a perfect opponent, but I think Ugas would only go after this fight if it was for the full title. So I think Ugas would probably pass on it and say not yet, maybe in the second half of the year if you're the champ. So I'm going to lean towards the no on this one. Keith one-time Thurman, not likely. He wants, he prices himself out all the time because he knows they're not going to pay him what he asked for, because he really, at the end of the day, really doesn't want to fight a guy like Boots. The talk is that he and Spence could be fighting above 147 next. So I think that's going to happen, or they're going to fight at 147 for the titles, one or the other. But I do think Thurman is the likely next opponent for Spence. I'm on to Stanionis, the WBA regular champion. Not seeing it. Stanionis is going to fight Virgil Ortiz. Personally, I think he's going to lose. But even if he wins, he's really in the driver's seat to fight the potential winner between Spence and Crawford, or just fight Errol Spence. So I really don't think he would, after beating Virgil Ortiz, go after the other undefeated shark in the division. And I don't think Ortiz, you know, we'll get to Ortiz. Radza Butayev, that is a very interesting opponent right there. That's somebody who I think Boots Ennis should really focus on, because Butayev's coming off of a tough split decision loss. He's only lost the one time. He's tough as nails. He might be willing to go after Boots, especially if Boots gets upgraded to champ. Virgil Ortiz. I don't think Virgil Ortiz would fight Boots next if he beats Stanionis. I think he would really want one of the old lions in Spence, or older lions in Spence and Crawford, instead of going after the other young lion. I think if he and Boots are smart, they build up for a fight like that later on down the road for title unification, maybe early as 2024. Cody Crowley. I think Cody Crowley would be a good option for Boots as well if Crowley wants that smoke. They're both with the PBC. It's a makeable fight. I think that fight makes sense. And then lastly, well, Rashidi Ellis came into the year. He actually lost to Romain Villa. He's probably going to fight him again. But you know, he's coming off that. And then you got to factor in Romain Villa for beating Rashidi Ellis. That could be an option for Boots. But Boots, you know, he's definitely an avoided fighter. Fighters do avoid him greatly. They don't really want that smoke with him. You know, he's gonna struggle to try to get opponents right now, because he's a tough out, and also because he's just the interim champ right now. You know, guys are you know, they want to fight for a world title if they fight Boots at all. And Boots is playing the dance, and it's not his fault. He's playing the dance of Spence and Crawford, sadly. And I hope we hear some kind of solid, concrete thing for Boots Ennis sometime in the future, because I can't stand that he has to sit and wait like this. But we'll see what goes down. But that's it. That's what I got. That's the what's next on Jaron Boots Ennis. I really do think it could be a handful of guys. Cody Crowley, Radza Butayev, and I think your Dennis Ugas would be the most likely opponents in the top 10, but I'm not even guaranteeing he can get a top 10 guy to fight him. So we'll see what happens, but that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.